Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving into the fascinating life of the guy who literally put the silicon in Silicon Valley. If you've ever wondered exactly how the modern digital world came to be, or who's ultimately responsible for the device you're using to view this explainer right now, well, you're in the right place. We are going to explore the life, the brilliantly rebellious mind, and the massive, enduring legacy of Robert Noyce. So, when you hear the phrase, Mayor of Silicon Valley, who immediately pops into your head? You're probably thinking of the modern tech giants, right? Your mind goes straight to the founders of Apple, Microsoft, or Google. But to find the true pioneer, the original architect of the tech landscape as we know it today, we actually need to rewind a bit further back. We need to look at an American physicist and entrepreneur who was born in Burlington, Iowa, way back in 1927. Let's jump right into Section 1, Architect of Silicon Valley, and see how he built the absolute foundation of our digital world. At his core, Robert Noyce was a physicist, but man, he was also an incredibly sharp entrepreneur. He's widely credited with realizing the first practical monolithic integrated circuit, which honestly is just a fancy, highly technical term for the microchip. And it was that single invention that fueled the entire personal computer revolution. But Noyce was so much more than just a brilliant scientist stuck in a lab. He was a savvy businessman who co-founded Fairchild Semiconductor in 1957, and then, get this, went on to found Intel in 1968. Through those two absolute juggernauts of industry, he completely cemented his legacy as a foundational pillar of modern electronics. But to really understand a titan of industry, we've got to look at their roots. That brings us to Section 2, the rebellious Rapid Robert. This guy's inherent drive started so early. Imagine this. At just 5 years old, his earliest childhood memory was actually beating his father at ping pong, and then feeling deeply offended when his mother suggested that his dad let him win. Even as a toddler, there was no way he was accepting winning or losing just for fun. He demanded true competition, literally telling his mother, if you're going to play, play to win. And we really have to dive into this because his competitive nature, paired with a massive intellect, led to some wild early antics. His super quick mind earned him the nickname Rapid Robert in graduate school, but his rebellious streak in college almost derailed his entire future. He was always tinkering, building a boy-sized aircraft to jump off the college stables or welding a washing machine motor on a propeller onto a sled. But the absolute most infamous incident happened during his junior year at Grinnell College. He and some buddies actually stole a 25-pound pig from the town mayor's farm for a school luau. Now, because stealing livestock was a felony in Iowa, Noyce was suddenly facing up to a year in prison and full expulsion. Thankfully for all of us, his physics professor saw his massive potential, compromised with the mayor, and got Noyce suspended for just one semester instead. He eventually returned and graduated Phi Beta Kappa with degrees in physics and mathematics. All right, so he clearly had this brilliant, rule-breaking energy. Let's see how that was channeled in Section 3, Inventing the Microchip. After getting his doctorate from MIT, Noyce joined the semiconductor laboratory run by William Shockley, who was a Nobel laureate. But here's the thing. Shockley had a famously difficult, almost paranoid management style. And ever the rebel, Noyce wasn't going to stick around in a toxic environment, right? Just a year later, in 1957, he left with a group famously known as the Traitorous Eight to found Fairchild Semiconductor. And it was there, in 1959, that he changed history by independently inventing the monolithic integrated circuit. Now, why is his version the one that changed the world? Well, a few months prior, an inventor named Jack Kilby had actually created the first hybrid integrated circuit. But look at the practical difference here. Kilby used germanium and connected the components with external wires, which meant, practically speaking, it really couldn't be easily mass-produced. Noyce took a totally different approach. Using a planar process, he made his out of silicon and connected everything internally, using tiny aluminum lines painted directly onto the chip. This seemingly simple structural change was everything. It's what made the microchip practical, highly scalable, and easily mass-producible. With that world-changing microchip in his pocket, Noyce still wasn't done. Moving on to Section 4, Build in the Intel Culture. I absolutely love how early Intel investor Arthur Rock perfectly categorized the legendary trio that built the company. You really needed all three of these guys to succeed, but they needed to be in exactly this order. Noyce served as the crucial, inspiring first CEO. He was the visionary, the guy who got everyone to believe in the impossible. As a leader, he completely disrupted the corporate norms of the era. Think about traditional executive culture at the time. It was all about rigid hierarchy, fancy corporate cars, reserved parking spots, lavish mahogany offices. Noyce, he actively shunned all of it. He brought a true roll-up-your-sleeves approach to Intel. He treated employees like family and fostered this wonderfully relaxed, egalitarian working environment where everyone's ideas mattered. By declining the usual executive perks, he basically created the absolute blueprint for what we all recognize today as modern Silicon Valley startup culture. And look, this egalitarian vibe wasn't just for show. It produced massive technological breakthroughs. This highly supportive environment directly led to his second major revolution. By cultivating that relaxed culture first, he set the perfect stage for Ted Hoff to feel free enough to develop the whole concept for a microprocessor. And finally, that open collaboration allowed Federico Faggin to bring it to life, designing the very first commercial microprocessor, the Intel 44, with Noyce overseeing the whole thing. Tragically, Noyce suffered a fatal heart attack in 1990 at the age of just 62. So let's look at the monumental impact he left behind in Section 5, a lasting technological legacy. 15. Throughout his insanely impactful career, Robert Noyce was granted exactly 15 patents. And because of the world-transforming impact of his co-invention of the integrated circuit, he was honored by 3 different presidents of the United States. He received the National Medal of Technology from Ronald Reagan, was inducted into the Business Hall of Fame by George H.W. Bush, and received a Lifetime Achievement Medal in 1990. But his legacy isn't just a bunch of medals sitting on a shelf. It's intangible, massive support for the future. His incredible financial success translated into powerful philanthropy. His family founded the Noyce Foundation to significantly improve public education in math and science. And just recently, a $60 million gift from his trust was used to completely establish the Noyce School of Applied Computing at Cal Poly. He truly, deeply believed in investing back into the minds of the next generation. To wrap up this explainer, I really want to leave you with Noyce's own provocative question. In his final interview, he was asked what he would do if he were suddenly made Emperor of the United States. He didn't talk about building more tech factories or spaceships. He talked about people. He said he would ensure we are preparing our next generation to flourish, specifically emphasizing the education of the lowest and the poorest in our society. It challenges us today. As our technology becomes increasingly advanced and powerful, are we truly using these incredible tools to elevate absolutely everyone in our society? It's a massive question, and it's exactly what the mayor of Silicon Valley would want us figuring out right now.